The corpse was standing upright with its hair covering its face. Looking closely, they could see that it was indeed a real ghost.
Told her pull up and let's vibe. Sipping on Patron, we live. Feeling like a star, nigga high. Bitch, I'm high, yeah, yeah. Got a bad bitch, stick like Cardi B. Twerk on OnlyFans, still belong to me. Got my money up, living on my dream. Smacking all these hoes, spread my energy. Say she got a man, don't feel her knees. Bad little bitch cold, made a nigga freeze. I just want the top, told her on the knees, yeah.
What's good, Dark Knight gang? I'm Neptune. Hey bro, today we're about to watch 2 true urban legend stories animated, bro. Yeah, this should be fire. I'm ready to watch this. You already know I'm on Neptune. Shout out to the homie that told me to start saying that. The homie said, Brandon, why not just start saying you're on Neptune whenever you're hot? You right, homie. Nigga, I'm on Neptune. Thank you for that. I'm gonna start saying that. Anyway, we're gonna see some true urban legend horror stories animated. This should be a fire video. Everybody have a great Sunday. Don't forget, leave a comment down below letting me know what video you guys want to watch next, so we can keep watching interesting videos together. Shout out to the gang. Everybody have a great day. Let's hop into this video. Let's go.
Today, I'm going to tell you something that my father went through. In the past, in my father's village, there was a still custom called One Night with the Dead. At that time, the custom of this region was very respectful of men and despised women. The status of women at that time was quite low. When returning to her husband's house, the woman often had to do hard work. If she did not do well, a woman might be beaten and tortured by her husband as a matter of course.
Okay.
No one had the right to interfere in other people's family affairs, and no one could protect the woman. And of course, the woman's family certainly wouldn't want that to happen to their children. Sometimes the police interpreted the woman's cause of death as suicide, and the husband's family would not bear any punishment. So, in the village, a custom was formed that was, for the first 7 days after the wife's death, the village youth would tie the husband up and lock him up with the wife's body for 1 night.
Okay.
If nothing happened in the following morning, it meant that the cause of death had nothing to do with the husband or that the deceased had forgiven the husband. The purpose of custom was for the man to suffer some torture for his wife's family to calm down. When my father was young, his friend's sister married. After returning to...
Hey, that's a crazy urban legend right there. So the youth in the town are like, okay, you kill your wife, or if your wife mysteriously dies, we're going to tie you up, throw you in her grave for a whole day. And if you survive, that means you didn't do it. That's a crazy custom. Let's see what happens.
To her husband's house, she hanged herself a month later. So with the support of the brothers, they went to the husband's village and tied the man to perform the above custom. My father said that at the time the man was still very resolute and stubborn, saying that he was very good to his wife and that she had mental problems, so he committed suicide. When the husband found that he would be locked in a room with his wife's body, he got so scared that he screamed and begged to be released. They left him with his wife's body. If he was fine the following morning, he would be free. Before leaving, these people turned off the lights and locked the doors. Suddenly, the whole room was dark. Only the light of the moon shining through the window. The space was completely dark. Only the man and a hanging corpse remained. The husband's eyes were fixed on the corpse. A feeling of fear enveloped him. In this situation, no matter how brave the husband was, he couldn't stand it. He felt fear, his heart pounding in his chest, holding his breath and hoping for a quick morning. The wife's body was covered with a white sheet. motionless. Outside, the husband's screams could be heard clearly. Until midnight, he was too tired to stop. But at this moment, terrible things began to happen to him. He looked directly at the corpse, his whole body shaking with fear. Suddenly, there was a sound in his wife's corpse. The corpse in the room suddenly giggled, accompanied by a terrifying laugh. The corpse shook unceasingly and it stretched the white cloth. The corpse suddenly stood up slowly. Moments later, the corpse was standing upright with its hair covering its face, and it was moving towards the husband. The corpse's legs had already left the ground and slowly rose. Slowly, the corpse was hovering close to the husband, like when hanging in the house. Despite her husband's pitiful pleas, the corpse drew closer and closer. A pair of white teeth opened and a pale face appeared. The corpse revealed a pair of bloodshot eyes, staring at the man as if to say something resentful. Immediately after, a more horrifying scene happened. The neck of the wife's corpse suddenly lengthened. Just like that, the neck stretched out nearly 2 meters like a snake and approached the husband. The large pale face leaned straight in front of her husband. He stared blankly and couldn't move his body because he was so scared. The husband was sweating, unable to make a sound, staring blankly at the body and waiting for the terrible thing to happen to him. The corpse of the woman did not speak, but growled and stared at him with an increasingly angry and fierce expression. Suddenly, the wife opened her mouth wide and rushed towards her husband. The scene was terrible. Suddenly, a scream rang out. The husband was so scared that he peed his pants. He kept begging his wife not to come near him. The people who locked him were peeking outside like they were watching a horror movie, and the main character was the husband.
That shit was a horror
Yes,
movie.
they did not leave. They arranged everything to teach the husband a lesson, as well as force him to confess what he did to lead to the death of his wife. The father's friend was smugly viewing the frightened husband inside. Suddenly, he stopped when he heard a familiar voice from the group behind him. He turned back amazed and confused. "Oh my God, aren't you supposed to be inside pretending to be the ghost?" The friend of my father's friend thought that his cousin was pretending to be the ghost inside. But why was he standing with them outside now? After seeing their cousin still standing there, the rest of them were equally surprised. But the cousin was even more surprised. He took off his wig and said that the plan was predetermined, that it was still half an hour before scaring the husband. It was too early. They were all confused and felt that something was wrong. So who was pretending to be a ghost and scaring the husband inside? The cousin at this time also scratched his head and said, "Strange, isn't it? Do you think the ghost is real?" At this point, these people looked at each other. They deduced that if this cousin was still standing outside, what they saw inside was the real ghost of his wife. They were all scared now, confused and didn't know what to do. Everyone's limbs were as cold as freezing, not daring to move. They slowly looked inside again. It was scary. The long neck of the ghost was threatening the man inside. Looking closely, they could see that it was indeed a real ghost. And the fear was at its peak. They screamed and ran out of the yard. The following morning, these people dared to come back here to check. The woman's corpse was still lying in the house, and the husband had fainted from fear. The man then went crazy, crying and laughing, and saying crazy things to get his wife's forgiveness.
All right, bro, that was a good little story. I enjoyed it. A good animated urban legend. We saw a man being trapped with his dead wife that he said he didn't kill. She turned to a ghost and killed him. The kids thought they were just playing a prank. Turned out it was real. The animation was cool. I really enjoyed it. I didn't want to talk too much throughout. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to ruin it since it's a horror story. So I didn't want to give a lot of commentary throughout. So I'll just give my commentary now. But yeah, the video was fire. The animation was really good. The dude's voice who was narrating it kept me intrigued throughout the whole time. And you know, like I said, I'm in the clouds, so I was just completely paying attention. And yeah, it was a good little story. Nice animation. I'll probably do another one tomorrow. Shout out to the gang. Everybody have a good Sunday. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Yeah, peace.
She in the streets, playing with the best, yeah, we don't